the size of heaven, the dwelling place of the King of all things. What if I told you that the greatest city ever imagined, the most dazzling skyline, the most majestic architecture, the most breathtaking palace, is nothing more than a child's drawing compared to heaven? What if I told you that heaven's size is so massive, so jaw-dropping, so shocking that entire nations could fit inside its walls and still leave room beyond measure? The Bible declares that the New Jerusalem, the dwelling place of God, is 1,500 miles long, 1,500 miles wide, and 1,500 miles high. Try to wrap your mind around that. A cube stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Rocky Mountains, from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico, then rising into the sky higher than the stratosphere, higher than satellites, higher than anything we've ever built or dreamed. A city so tall it brushes the stars. But here's the tear-jerking, shocking truth. This is not fantasy. This is the home of the King of Kings. This is the dwelling place of the one who spoke galaxies into existence, and his home reflects his majesty. Earthly kings built palaces to impress. God built heaven to welcome, and its size declares loudly, there is room for you. There is room for every nation. There is room for eternity itself. As you stand before its walls, glowing like jasper, as high as mountains, with gates of pearl that tower like continents, your soul trembles. You realize at once, this place was not made by human hands. This is not the work of stone and hammer. This is the city whose architect and builder is God. And in that moment your heart cries out, this is the King's dwelling and I am invited in. Heaven is not small. Heaven is not cramped. Heaven is not a tiny corner hidden away in the universe. It is vast beyond comprehension, a dwelling place worthy of the King of all kings, the creator of galaxies, the Lord of eternity. When John described the New Jerusalem in Revelation 21, he gave dimensions so staggering they defy human imagination. 1,500 miles long, 1,500 miles wide, and 1,500 miles high. The size of Heaven's city is larger than most nations combined. To put it in perspective, the New Jerusalem would stretch from New York to Houston in length and from Canada to Florida in width. And then it rises into the sky higher than the clouds, higher than mountains, higher than the very atmosphere of Earth. Imagine a city so massive, yet so flawless, that it glows like a jewel. Streets stretching endlessly, gates towering like mountains, walls that shine like jasper. This is no village. This is the eternal capital of creation. And yet, the size of heaven isn't measured only in miles. It is measured in glory. It is vast enough to contain every redeemed soul from every generation, from Adam to the last believer saved at the end of time. Imagine walking its avenues, millions upon millions of saints rejoicing and yet never feeling crowded. Space beyond measure, room beyond need, freedom without limit. Every citizen known, every voice heard, every heart embraced. Heaven's size reflects its King. A small dwelling would dishonor the majesty of God. But heaven is limitless, eternal, vast, because the King who reigns there is infinite. This is the throne room of the universe, the palace of the Almighty, the dwelling place of the one who spoke galaxies into being. Could such a king live in a hut? Number he dwells in glory that dwarfs every empire that ever existed. Think of the biggest palaces on earth, Versailles, Buckingham, the Forbidden City. Now multiply them not by 10, not by 1,000, but by infinity. Still, they pale compared to the size of heaven, the dwelling place of the true monarch. The size of heaven is not intimidating, it is comforting. It means there is room for you, room for your family, room for every tribe, tongue, and nation. Nobody left out, nobody forgotten. It is a shocking, tear-jerking truth. God's house is big enough for everyone who believes. Jesus promised, "In my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you." He wasn't exaggerating. he meant limitless space. And this house isn't just tall buildings or endless streets. It is layered with glory. 12 foundations made of precious stones, each one massive enough to support the city of God. Each foundation is a sermon of God's faithfulness. The walls themselves stretch so wide, 12 gates carved from pearls so enormous they defy physics. The size of these gates declares one truth: eternity is open to those washed in the blood of the Lamb. Heaven's size is not wasted space. Every square mile pulses with purpose. Every street sings with worship. Every foundation radiates with meaning. The King wastes nothing. His dwelling is both infinite and intimate. Picture the vastness of heaven's throne room. Thunder and lightning encircle it. Rainbows blaze over it. Angels numbering in the billions surround it, each one with space to worship freely. Jaw-dropping doesn't begin to cover it. In that massive throne room, you are not lost in the crowd. The King sees you. The King knows you. The King calls you by name, even in the midst of limitless multitudes. The sheer size of heaven silences pride. Earthly kings build monuments to display their greatness. God built heaven to display his love. Its size shows us there is no limit to his welcome. Every mansion has a story. Every street leads to joy. Every gate swings wide for the redeemed. The vast city testifies the King is big enough for all, yet personal enough for each. Think of eternity itself. Heaven's size stretches beyond time. No beginning, no ending. It is a space without borders, a time without clocks, a life without death. Astronomers study galaxies and declare them infinite. But heaven outshines galaxies. The city of God, the size of continents, is just the beginning. Beyond it lies the limitless expanse of God's eternal kingdom. The King's dwelling dwarfs everything we call great. Mountains crumble before it. Oceans shrink beside it. Nations vanish like mist in the shadow of their gates. And yet, its vastness never overwhelms you. Instead, it comforts you, because the size of heaven is not just about grandeur, it's about home. It is a place big enough for the universe, yet small enough for your heart. This is where tears are wiped away. This is where sorrow dies. This is where joy explodes without limit. A city so massive it holds eternity, yet a home so tender it has you. The King of all things needed a dwelling place that reflected his majesty. He designed heaven as a place where his throne is exalted and his children are embraced. The sheer size of heaven reveals the sheer size of his love. It is not tight, not scarce, not stingy. It is vast, generous, overflowing. Even the angels stand in awe of its enormity. Even the redeemed gasp at its endlessness. And yet, no one is ever lost, because the Lamb himself is the light, and his presence fills every corner. In heaven's vastness, there are no shadows, no forgotten places, no hidden corners of despair. Its size does not dilute God's love, it magnifies it. The walls of jasper rise high, not to keep people out, but to proclaim safety. The gates of pearl open wide, not to intimidate, but to welcome. The city's enormity preaches one thing: the King is mighty. The King's dwelling place is larger than imagination, because his kingdom is larger than history. Every age, every era, every people who bowed the knee find their place in this eternal home. Wow! The sheer scope of heaven makes you tremble, but the intimacy of its King makes you weep. Together, the vastness and tenderness create the ultimate wow, a limitless city filled with limitless love. Imagine walking for miles and never reaching the end. Imagine flying through towers of light that rise for thousands of miles. Imagine exploring for ages and never exhausting its wonder. And yet, in that enormity, Jesus himself sits with you, one-on-one, like there was no one else in the universe. That is the paradox of heaven, infinite in size, yet intimate in love. Heaven's vast dwelling declares, This is no ordinary king. This is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and Omega. His home must be as limitless as his reign. So when you think of heaven, don't think small, don't think clouds, don't think limits, think galaxies bowing, think eternity stretching, think the dwelling place of the King of all things, big enough to hold creation, yet tender enough to hold you. Wow! Shocking, jaw-dropping, tear-stirring, eternity-changing. And so, when all is said and done, when the battles of earth have ended, when the tears of history have dried, the redeemed will step into a city so massive, so limitless, so glorious, that even eternity will not exhaust its wonders. You will walk streets that shine like gold, not the gold that tarnishes, but transparent gold that glows with God's light. You will touch gates carved from single pearls larger than mountains, each one swung open, not to intimidate, but to welcome. You will see walls glittering with sapphire, emerald, and amethyst, foundations glowing with the faithfulness of God. And you will know this city, this dwelling, this unimaginable vastness exists for one reason, because the King wanted to dwell with his children forever. And here's the shocking, tear-stirring part. In all of heaven's enormity, in all of its endless avenues and towering gates, you will never feel lost. You will never feel small, because the King himself will bend down, call you by name, and walk with you as if you were the only one there. Wow! A city big enough for the universe, but intimate enough for your heart. This is not a myth. This is not an exaggeration. This is the promise of Jesus. In my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you. Heaven's size is God's love measured in miles, eternity stretched in glory, and salvation built into walls that will never fall. So when your soul grows weary, when life feels cramped, when sorrow feels endless, lift your eyes, remember the city, remember the size, remember the dwelling place of the King of all things. For one day soon, you will stand at its gates, step into its glory, and whisper with trembling lips and tear-filled eyes, "This is home. This is forever. This is heaven, the limitless dwelling place of my King." Shocking, jaw-dropping, tear-stirring, eternity-changing. Jesus is knocking. Answer while there's still time. Right now, Jesus is knocking on your heart, Revelation 3:20, before the storm comes, before it's too late. Don't harden your heart. Say yes to him today and be marked for salvation, not judgment. Let heaven be your eternal home, not a missed opportunity. Pray this now. Jesus, I believe you are the Son of God. I believe you died and rose again. Forgive me, cleanse me, make me new. I surrender my life to you. Write my name in the book of life. I am yours forever. Amen. If you prayed that, comment, "Yes, I'm answering the call." Share this message. Visit 𝐿𝐿𝐿.com and subscribe for more truth that prepares you for eternity.